Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. So yesterday, GW revealed a whole host of Battleforces that'll be dropping later in the year. Essentially what we have known as the Christmas Battleforces in years previously. 7 Battleforces for 40k, and 4 for Age of Sigmar. And so as we do every year, it's time to check them out. Make sure to head over to the Warhammer community website for yourself to check them out as usual, as I am going to do right now. Okay, so let's begin with the 40k ones, as, let's be honest here, that is the main event. Short of an old world Battleforce dropping anyway. Up first, we have the Emperor's Children, with the Blissbound Warband. And taking centre stage as is always his way, the Phoenician himself, Fulgrim. I was wondering if he was going to drop in a Battleforce this year, as they've done previously with the other Primarchs that have released. And well, here he is. What else have we got? We have 6 Noise Marines and 6 Flawless Blades. It kind of depends on what you prefer here, I think, with your Battleforces. Do you like the big centerpiece model but with less total models going on? Or do you prefer quantity over quality, shall we say? I personally generally lean on the side of quantity. I just kind of like the Battleforces to feel like an army. However, I do love the Fulgrim model, and I still need him to go with my Emperor's Children. But I did get the launch set that came out earlier in the year, so I really don't need any more Noise Marines. So this one isn't personally going to be an option for me. But having a Primarch, I can see it being very popular. And it certainly looks impressive having the Phoenician front and centre. However, on to the Leagues of Votann with the Chthonian Prospect. Every time I see Chthonian, it just makes me think of Horus. Off-topic question here, but has it ever been explained why the Leagues of Votann have Chthonian in half of their descriptions, considering Chthоnia was destroyed back during the Heresy? I don't know, I'd be intrigued to see if there was more to it rather than it just being a cool name. However, back to the Battleforce, it's feeling a bit more numerous here, but admittedly not quite as visually impressive. I'm going to have to read the names as I haven't started a Votann force yet personally, so I'm not overly familiar with their units. We've got a Brock here Iron Master with Assistant and 3 Ecogs, 3 Brock here Thunderkin, 2 Earthshakers, 10 Chthonian Berserks, and a Capricus Defender. Like I said, I haven't taken the plunge with the Votann yet. I love the dwarfs from the old world, one of my favourite factions there in fact. But I don't know, something hasn't quite grabbed me yet for the Leagues of Votann. However, to be fair, I still haven't seen the models in person. That might be all I need. This isn't a Battleforce that's going to be in the running for me until I decide to start a force of them, which I don't think I'm quite there yet. But to be fair, a Battleforce is a great way to do it. I'll have to rely on you Votann players to let me know if this is a good set to add to an existing army, but you could definitely use it as a starter force either way. Moving on, next up the Tyranids with the Crusher Stampede. Pretty straightforward here with a bunch of heavy hitters to add to an existing force. We got the Neurotyrant, the Tyrannofex, Male Scepter, Haruspex, and the Screamer Killer. Now, an important thing to remember here is you can actually build virtually all of these as an alternate option. The Tyrannofex as a Tervigon, the Haruspex as an Exocrine, and the Male Scepter as a Toxocrine, which actually adds a huge amount of options to this set, making it much more appealing in my opinion. Although I do have to say I'm very surprised to see the Neurotyrant and Screamer Killer included here from the Leviathan set, as I would have thought most people would have already had them. But then I guess what else are you actually going to do? Go with a Hive Tyrant and Carnifex instead? Which actually would have been even better for me personally, but I can imagine even more people have got Hive Tyrants and Carnifexes laying around within their collection, so there's probably not an ideal option. The Tyrannid set always seems to be quite popular every year, so I've got a sneaky feeling this one is going to be pretty popular too. It's definitely a nice addition to your infantry that you already might have, covering pretty much all of your heavy hitting options. Now moving on, next we have the Tau, in the Farsight scheme to boot. What do we have? We've got Farsight himself, a Riptide battlesuit, a Broadside battlesuit, and a squad of 3 crisis suits, not to mention plenty of drones coming along with them. It's nice to see the Tau painted up in a different scheme than the standard white. Would be good if they did that with a Tyrannid sometimes as well. Maybe a Battle Force marketed as a different Hive fleet scheme, like they used to do with the Space Marines, when they brought one out in Imperial Fists and White Scars for example. The Farsight model looks great as you'd expect, it being the most recent one. I don't know, I've always been tempted by Tau over the years, but I've never actually taken the plunge. I don't think this will be the year for me, but I am liking the striking red as opposed to the white that we usually see. It definitely makes this set pop a bit more than it usually does. Makes it feel a little bit different to usual. Moving on, now here we go. The Space Marines with the Iron Halo Strike Force. Now this immediately feels more impactful, more like a proper old school Battle Force to me. We've got the 2 Dreadnoughts, the Company Hero Squad, the Captain, the Stern Guard, and 5 Hellblasters. Okay, that's a bit of a surprise seeing the Hellblasters included here, but I guess you can always fit them in somewhere. Pretty sure most of us have got at least a squad or 2 of them still sitting on the sprues already from all the sets over the years, but it is what it is. That front line and the Dreadnoughts is really stealing the show for this one, and I think it's just a beautiful set. In my Space Marine bias, of course. I like this one a lot. It's grabbing me just on visual appeal. It's got a nice mix of new models and squads you might not have yet, such as the Heroes and the Stern Guard, and then just the things that you always will need more of. 2 Dreadnoughts. And the fact that one's a Ballistus and one's a standard Redemptor, it's just a nice mix. No, I don't need the Hellblasters, but the rest of the sets, I like. I like it a lot. And again, it just feels like a Battle Force to me. A nice blend between quantity of models and the larger units that stand out. I think this one will be pretty popular. However, moving on, next up we have the Chaos Space Marines with the Hellforged Warband. Again, the same kind of vibe going on here. Another one that's got a nice blend to it. What do we have? We have the Lord Discordant, a Venom Crawler, 2 Obliterators, a standard 10-man squad, and then the heavy-hitting Havocs with a Rhino. I'd imagine most Chaos Space Marine players have probably all of these in abundance already, but for someone like me who's got Death Guard and Emperor's Children, but no Black Legion or Renegade Force, well, this looks like a great set to start with. It's got all your basics here. I mean, it really has. It's got the standard squad with the Havocs for fire support, the Rhino, the Obliterators, add in a Terminator squad and, well, you're laughing. I really like this one as well. Again, I can understand it might not work for an existing force, but for a new one, I really think this is ticking a lot of boxes. And it's tempting for me, I've got to say. It is tempting. However, finally for 40k, we have the Astra Militarum with the Krieg Siege Platoon. And I have no doubt this is going to be the most popular one here by far. Come on, we all love the Krieg. And this set just looks beautiful. They look so good when painted well as well. Shout out to the painters for all the sets here. But what do we have? Well, we got 2 artillery guns, 20 troopers, commissar and a command squad, and the engineer squad. And that commissar and banner front and centre just makes this set ping, right? It feels like an army, a complete force contained in one box set. Definitely a good looking one. I guess it's troop heavy here, and I haven't checked out the combat patrol, so maybe it won't work in tandem with it. But hey, it's Astra Militarum, not to mention the Krieg. It needs to be troop heavy. Add in a couple of tanks and, well, you're ready to roll. I like this one as well. And yeah, this one I expect to be selling out like hotcakes. But okay, now before we go, let's take a quick look at the Age of Sigmar sets. 4 Battleforces coming later this year. I don't play Age of Sigmar, so I'm certainly no expert here, so I'm just going to quickly run through the contents of them, and you guys who play Age of Sigmar will know what's good and what's not. First up, we have the Skaven with the Warp Swarm. It's got 20 Storm Vermin, an Arch Warlock, Rattling Warp Blaster, 3 Warplock Jezzails, 5 Acolyte Globadiers, and a Warp Spark Weapon Battery. Again, I've got no idea if these units are any good or what you're going to want from a Skaven battle force, but it's certainly got a lot in it. Looking pretty visually impressive. As, to be fair, most of the Age of Sigmar ones always tend to do. Now, next we have the Lancers of the Crimson Keep. We've got Prince Vordai on a dragon, 10 Blood Knights and 3 Fellbats. Obviously a lot less in terms of total numbers here, but the dragon is pretty dominating to say the least. It's a bit more like the Emperor's Children one for 40k. Anytime I see these guys, it always just makes me want vampire counts in the old world. I am a huge Vlad von Carstein fan. I can't wait until they release them for the old world once again. Yes, I know the legacy factions aren't supported, but come on. I think we're all expecting to see them released at some point. Especially with the Age of Sigmar ranges replacing all the older sculpts. However, back on topic, next up we've got the Dankhold Rampage, with Trug the Troggoth King, a Dankhold Trog Boss, 6 Rockgut Troggoths, and 3 Fellwater Troggoths as well. If you're into trolls, well, I think this is going to be the set for you. However, finally, for Age of Sigmar, we have got the Sylvaneth, which was the Age of Sigmar faction I was going to do, with Drycha Hamadreth, a Spirit of Durfu, 20 Dryads and 15 Spite Revenants. Another one that feels quite impressive for the sheer model count it's got going on. Maybe not a great set for existing forces, but probably a winner for those wanting to start a Sylvaneth force. And well, that's it. That's all the battle forces that have been revealed to be dropping later in the year. Essentially what we know as the Christmas battle forces. As always, head over to the Warhammer community website to check it all out for yourself. No prices as of yet at the time of recording. Drop your thoughts in the comments below of which battle forces you're going to be tempted to try and get your hands on. And as always everyone, a huge thank you to all my subscribers for your support. It truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow, and if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.